towards enhancing modernization and self-reliance of the Indian defence sector. It's noteworthy. Their efforts have borne fruit and a lot has happened because of their efforts. I think they deserve a hand.
Compliments to the Assocham for its continued contribution towards enhancing modernization and self-reliance of the Indian defence sector. It's noteworthy. Their efforts have borne fruit and a lot has happened because of their effort. I think they deserve a hand. In consonance with the national aim of assuming a rightful role in the emerging world order by unhindered socio-economic development, the primary mission of the armed forces of any nation is to ensure territorial integrity and to provide a secure environment for development. Keeping this in view and the security environment in our region, armed forces have to be prepared to deal with both external and internal challenges spanning the entire spectrum of conflict. While facing such challenges, we need a strategic vision for ensuring self-reliance and maintaining an independent capability because of two pillars on which our policy is based on. And these two are that the country has got no extraterritorial ambitions and it does not want to transplant its ideology on anybody. Now this demands that we have an independent capability to equip our armed forces, a capability that does not get influenced by too much of dependence on external factors. The Indian defence industry has grown. Our past experience has been that the initial stages we were only catering for maintenance and repair at the lower end of development cycle in the industry. Today, it is heartening to note that our industry is developing a range of state-of-art weapon systems and is ready to enlarge the scope as the opportunities come by. We need to ensure that our industry is capable of learning and absorbing various technologies which can produce complex systems indigenously. The private sector participation in industry has been debated for a very long time. And while in the national economic policies there have been institutional and policy-oriented changes for quite some time, especially since 1990, the demand for participation in defence sector has gone up in the recent times. And we need to ensure that our industry understands the complex web of linkages which determine national policy in the defence industrial sector. I'm quite sure that this issue will get addressed in the conference. Joint ventures, alluded to sometime by some of the members, is an area which needs greater analysis if we want to import technology or transfer technology and to ensure that something can be produced indigenously in the country. This must progress beyond what it was so far, where we were confined to manufacturing lower-end items or only supporting the defence services in maintaining and refurbishing equipment that they had imported. Joint ventures must go to joint design and development as well as co-production if we want to enhance the scope of participation in defence-related ventures. There are few issues which I see as challenges for the private sector. First is access to proven technology. How do we get it? Who is going to give you? What kind of arrangements will you make to get this technology and ensure that our human resource is capable of going ahead with this technology? Connected to this would be IPR issues. How do we resolve these? Now, all these, I think, need to be integrated into the overall perspective that is planned by you. The next is research and development for cutting-edge technology. We may import something, but how do we invest in research and development to take it further? You could have Model 1, which is a basic model. How do you make into Model 10, which is a far superior model? Now, this needs to be factored into the private venture which goes out to invest in the defense sector. Transfer of technology, I've already spoken. We need to look at value addition and product improvement as a specific requirement and understand the needs of the defense services, of the armed forces, and have a much closer interaction so that we can take it forward. As I look at it, a private industry, when it is capable of investing a large sum, it looks forward to a certain gain. No private industry would invest if there are no gains at the end of it. And therefore, there has to be a much closer coordination between the industry, the various sections of the government, the various ministries who deal with various things, and the armed forces, so that this is a long-term investment. You cannot have a short-term investment which fizzles out after a certain number has been produced. It will have an annual defense-related or industry-related science challenge in which some ideas come up and you progress those ideas. And those ideas are then jointly financed by the private industry and the government. We need to look out for much more innovativeness in finding things which will enhance our industrial capability. We also have the offset policy, which has been designed to assist domestic defense industry. I think it needs to be analyzed by the industry in greater detail so that there is a greater interaction between the industry and the government so that we can make the best possible use of this policy. Import substitution, which at the moment is very negligible because 70% of our equipment still comes from abroad. We need to look at it very seriously as to what we are going to do to ensure that this becomes in the ratio of 70-30 in favor of our own industry. Now, with all these measures, I think there is scope for our defense-related private industry to grow exponentially. And I'm quite sure the captains of industry who are present here would have put their minds to it, would have analyzed these issues, and would further analyze in the conference as it ensues so that we can get the best possible results. As armed forces, we are committed towards giving as much encouragement as is possible to our own industry so that we can become more and more self-reliant. We can produce equipment indigenously and we do not have to depend for things which come from outside and which create problems subsequently. With these thoughts, I wish you all a success, great amount of participation in the conference that ensues, and a lot of ideas which will fructify in the future. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.